Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reshoot, an amateur's guide to gooder film. I'm Hector.
I am Ruthie.
Ed, and we have a special guest with us.
Hi, I'm back.
He is.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Yes.
back.
Hi.
So good to
Armand.
see you. I'm back.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back. Yeah, my name is Armand. I'm with the Cinedicate program on Spotify and other fine podcast platforms. Last time we talked about Minority Reports.
And this time we're talking about another sci-fi movie, Gattaca.
Very related.
Yeah. Do you want to bring up why you chose this movie?
Yeah, okay. So the last episode I was on, we talked about Minority Reports, and that was an interesting film with relevant topics, even though it was made almost 20 years ago. And then we have Gattaca, which was made even, almost 25 years ago now. And I thought it would be an interesting film to check out because it's thematically similar. So I was like, if we're going to keep up the theme, might as well watch Gattaca.
Yeah, they're super related. Actually, that surveillance film class that I took in university, January 2020, both of these movies were in that class. They are super related. I wish I still had the list of films that we saw in that class, because really good watch list.
Yeah, this one's a different kind of surveillance. Minority Report was way more
Big Brother.
Big Brother kind of thing. Yeah, and this one's more just like identity, or like it's much less.
There's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of like the immediate eyes on you surveillance, and then there's a lot more. It does lean more into that data surveillance, which I was going to touch in on. But yeah.
The ultimate data.
Yeah.
Your DNA and
the really scary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into like a really weird rabbit hole after looking up some stuff about the movie. I'll talk about that when it's my turn.
Anybody?
Who wants?
Wait, first
we should do Armand.
Yeah.
Should do this.
Yeah.
Like TLDR synopsis.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gattaca is a 1997 American dystopian science fiction film written and directed by Andrew Niccol. Who's Andrew Niccol? I have no idea. But who I do know is that it stars Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman and a young Jude Law. So pretty much the movie opens with a narration about Ethan Hawke's character's life. So Ethan Hawke is a man named Vincent Freeman. Get it? Free man. So in this society, it takes place in like the near future, and this world has perfectly mapped out the human genome to the point where we could customize people to be pretty much perfect, like getting rid of like serious illnesses from like minor to major, and then like I guess external bodies that they hint in the movie that you can customize. So it's kind of like Cyberpunk 2077 in a way. But what's interesting about this film is Vincent is not a product of this CRISPR gene editing type technology, but he was conceived of, quote, a god birth, which is, the natural way of doing things. And that is a major theme that will reverberate throughout the entire movie, because that puts him into an interesting situation with the institute that he becomes a part of, which is called Gattaca. So I think that sets up the movie.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Do you want me to continue?
If you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do the overall story. So Gattaca, what is it really? because like it's kind of like a NASA clone, because like Gattaca is like the space program that's based in Los Angeles or nearby, and Vincent aspires to be an astronaut or some sort of space colonist. I'm not really sure what their aim is, but they're going to space to leave Earth, and they need perfect people. And unfortunately, he's not a perfect person. So what does he do? He becomes a janitor. He tries to be as close to this organization as possible. And then through happenstance, he meets a man who's played by my boy, Tony Shalhoub. Let me get
Insert monk theme here.
Yes.
Wait.
That's Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
That's Monk?
Yeah, that's Monk.
Oh, I've never.
I think he's also in Spy Kids.
The Superior film. Yes. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I forget his name. But the point is, he devises this scheme for Ethan Hawke to become a new person, identity theft, if you will. And that's where Jude Law's character comes into play, because Jude Law, his name is Jerome Morrow. So unfortunately, Jerome Morrow got into this terrible accident where he becomes paralyzed, and Vincent has to kind of take his identity and become Jerome Morrow. And yeah, so I don't want to give it all away.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. that is the crux of it. It's like Ethan
It
Hawke
becomes
taking the identity.
Jerome Morrow to get into Gattaca.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has to become a new person, and he goes through great lengths to do it. And quite interesting journey that he embarks on by doing that. And by the end of the film, you're going to be like, I see, I get it. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Who wants to start?
Armand. Yeah, Armand, do you want to start, or do you want one of us to start? How do you want to go about this?
I am at your whim, but I mean, I could talk about the things that I liked about it before we start reshooting, if you will.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, so that's Gattaca. The things I liked about Gattaca is the subtext, because like with Minority Reports, there's like this subtext with like the surveillance state, and it somewhat relates to our society. And then with Gattaca, it also relates to our modern society. And it's crazy because like in 97, I think at the time we were just mapping out the human genome. So that was like topical in a way. And then flash forward to, 25 years later, we have gene editing programs. And it's kind of crazy how this old film through time becomes more relevant because of the themes it presents. It's very interesting. It's very thought-provoking. But what I like about the film specifically is Ethan Hawke's and Jude Law. Oh my God, their acting in this movie was incredible. And it's kind of trippy to see like a young Jude Law.
A young Jude Law does not look like Jude Law.
I know.
Yeah.
True.
I know. I always kind of picture him as Watson from the Sherlock movie.
Yes, that's like the epitomal role for me. Like, yes, he's technically Dumbledore in the new movies, but he doesn't make sense as a Dumbledore casting to me at all.
Yeah. I mean, he looked great. But other than that, what I really enjoyed with this film was just seeing the struggle with Vincent, and like him going at great lengths to fulfill his dreams of going into the stars. And kudos to his dedication, because like he went all the way. I mean, to the point where he had to hide the fact that he was. So in this society, there's people that are valids, which are, I guess, like genetically perfect people. And then invalid, which is anybody with any sort of
imperfection.
Imperfection.
Yeah,
in
I
their
think they
DNA.
also use the term. Oh, sorry. I think they also use the term degenerate.
That was when they're trying to
degenerate.
go. That's when they're trying to pass off as valid.
Oh, that's
No.
just...
No, degenerate is invalid. When they're trying to pass off as valid, it's borrowed ladder.
Borrowed ladder. Thank you.
They have a lot of slang in this society.
Yeah, it's like degenerate, and there's another term. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, that's the only one I remember because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Degenerate was like the
so bad.
Probably one of the more clever.
I did not like that. I did not like that.
It stuck out.
It was clever.
It was clever, but it was so against the tone of the movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, continue, Armand. What else did you like?
Yeah, sorry about that.
What else did I like? There's a lot of things I didn't like about this movie. Let me be frank about that. But what I do like is the relationship between Uma Thurman's character and Ethan Hawke's character. I really enjoyed that. Because I don't know, because under normal circumstances, they wouldn't be, a thing or even considered, a couple. And then she, I'm not going to say falls in love because that's not what happens in this story, but they definitely grow closer to each other. And she likes him for him and looks beyond this valid, invalid, degenerates or anything like that. I like that subplot out of all the subplots in this movie.
I'm curious, what did you dislike? Because that's usually something we say anyway. So if you want to,
oh my god. So first, I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead, but I have a lot of ammunition to reshoot this movie and how. But
I'm glad one of us does.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So
who knows? You going through your dislikes might spark something for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
So the narration throughout the entire movie was so mind-numbingly boring.
Really?
As we're watching it. Yes.
Actually, I had this thought through the narration because I saw the theatrical release of Blade Runner, the first one. When I first saw it. Yeah. Did it remind you of that kind of narration? Because it did for me.
Do you think
Harrison Ford hammed it up more?
Yeah, he hammed it up because he didn't want to. He wanted to make it so bad that they're not going to use it. Yeah, and then they ended up using it with Ethan. I mean, maybe Ethan Hawke was like, ugh. So, anyways, when I was a kid, I would swim with my brother, but I don't know. I just, I'm a fan of showing, not telling the audience. The narration would have worked perfectly as a book. If they were to do a novelization of Gattaca straight from movie to book, I think it would work very well. But as a film, you want to engage your audience, and you don't want to be ham-fisted exposition. I think we talked about this with Minority Report, which is, remember that scene where he busts into was it the greenhouse and he meets the doctor?
Oh yeah.
Exposition. Doctor exposition. Yeah.
Oh, you're here because of the thing that we made, since I made it, as you know. And then with Gattaca, it's I understand you have to set up a backstory, but there's more effective ways of doing it. Just sprinkle it in. I think the movie should have started, like I said, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I think the movie should have started with him at Gattaca and not shown this whole backstory to get back to where the movie began. And I don't know. It's a way of doing it. It's a safe way of doing it. definitely the easier way of doing it. The harder way is to, create dialogue that informs the viewer of, the backstory of these characters.
But that's especially like good dialogue too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dialogue that makes sense. Not doctor. Yeah. No doctor exposition there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, other than that was like big, and I think I don't want to like crap on the movie too much, but
go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Okay. I think they could have removed his brother's story entirely. Like in the beginning, they showed that, and it's a nice story where his brother is more physically perfect, quote, perfect than the main character, Vincent. And what's interesting is they would always have these like competitions, the dueling brother motif. You see that with like Thor and Loki, Batman and the Joker, God versus Satan. So you have that with the two brothers that we have, Vincent and, let me get his name right.
Anton.
Anton, yeah.
Yeah.
Anton. Yeah, because the main character's first name is Vincent Anton because his dad didn't want his name to be passed down onto his lesser child. So when he got the good son, that's my Anton. You didn't get that?
I didn't. He
literally exposit. That was part of the narration. They laid
there was okay. In my defense, there was so much going on.
It's a meaty movie.
There was a lot going on in the whole backstory. Then
yeah. So excuse me for forgetting one little aspect that doesn't do much for the movie.
Exactly. You see where I'm coming from now. So, I mean, that could have been an entire movie in of itself. Like the whole like parallels between like Cain and Abel. Like you could totally see it there with like this is the favorable brother and this one isn't. But what's interesting is, so they have all these competitions and one of them is, I don't know why, but they're like, I could swim better than you. So they go swimming, and what ends up is the Anton, the more, perfect kid, ends up getting tired and then needs help of his lesser brother. So I thought that was interesting. And then by the end of the movie, are we going to jump into spoilers?
Yeah.
We this podcast is full spoilers.
Okay.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
So okay. The reveal of, so to set it up, there's a murder that happens at Gattaca, and it's like the mission director that wants to cancel the space program for some reason. So he ends up cancel the mission. So he ends up getting killed, and Vincent leaves a little trace of his natural self, which is like an eyelash. So they end up finding at the investigators that look like Gestapo, eugenics theming. I got the Gestapo too. So little subtle stuff. And then it's like a giant hunt to find this invalid person that's in this program that only hires valid people. And the lead detective guy ends up being Anton. And when Vincent became Jerome Morrow, he pretty much disappeared as Vincent and became Mr. Morrow. And then by the end of the movie, he's like, I knew that was you. I'm your brother. I'm trying to help you. And I'm like, that's cool. And then they have another swimming match for some reason.
I thought he was just trying to prove to his brother. Vince was just trying to prove to his brother that, like, I don't need your help.
Yeah.
But that was already proven before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think that the point of doing it twice, especially after everything that happened, it was to prove this isn't a fluke. This isn't something that you can brush off. I am capable of exceeding your expectations of me.
Yeah, and like, again, I agree with Armand that the whole brother reveal was
It was kind of messy. No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, no, I actually, I'm trying to fix it.
Enjoyed the final swim off just from the whole kind of like emotional and
it's a little bow at the
how
end.
It looked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that part of it. The whole how they got there.
Right. And that's my biggest gripe with this movie. It's like you have all the interesting set pieces, but you have a script that I'm sorry, Andrew Nicole, but it kind of sucks. It's kind of lazy writing.
Throwing some sauce.
But I think there's a lot can be omitted from this, and I think the whole brother subtext could have got removed. And I think it would have been a stronger film if it focused in on. I mean, this is going to be difficult, but like focus in on Vincent and him trying to get to space, but also he meets this girl. So then you have the love story kind of, but then you have like the looming threats of like the police trying to, maybe they're gonna find him, and he needs to get to space before they find out who he is. It's exciting, creates tension. I feel like there was not really any tension in this movie. There was some tension of like, will they find him?
A lot of the tension I found was that kind of trope of like, he's busy while they're trying to call him or something. There were 2 instances of that.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy it.
And then another thing I enjoyed, to go back, but I really enjoyed the dynamic between Jude Law's character and Ethan Hawke's character. I thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the ending could have been better, it was like somewhat interesting, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. No, I get you.
You said a lot of the brother stuff could be omitted.
Yeah.
Although, like, a lot of that is like 30-ish minutes of the movie, and the movie's already an hour and 40 minutes long. What would you replace with all of that? What would you put in place of that?
Okay.
To kind of fit the 90-minute
all right
minimum time frame.
Here's the problem with the film, because I think they did some padding out with the movie. But anyways, so if you were to start with Ethan Hawke's character at Gattaca, and he's trained for the mission, and then you learn that he is an invalid, I think adding a little bit more with Jude Law and Ethan Hawke would be more beneficial. And then by the time you get to the ending of the movie, it's more heartbreaking and bittersweet for that relationship to end. And maybe explain the whole space program a little bit more, because it's definitely glossed over on what exactly is this mission trying to achieve. I have my own theories what they're trying to achieve, but maybe just fleshing out the world a little bit more by, I don't know, him being in it a little bit more.
The mission was just him like orbiting the one moon on Jupiter, right? It was
Titan.
Titan. It was
Saturn.
just gonna all the planets. If it's not Earth and if it's not Pluto, interchangeable.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's like, are they trying to create their own civilization colony in space? And that's why they need like perfect specimens to go to space and to be a part of this program. And I can get really weird with it, but I don't know, maybe figuring out what exactly they're trying to do and why are they sending so many rockets up into space? Seems a little excessive. I don't know, just maybe that, and also building on the relationship between Ethan Hawke and Jude Law.
Would you change the relationship a little bit between Ethan Hawke and Jude Law to pad out the time?
If I remember correctly, what was the conflict of this movie? The interpersonal conflict. Was there any between Ethan Hawke and Jude Law, or Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman?
Ethan Hawke and Jude Law. It was more of like Jude Law's drinking problem.
Yeah,
that would mess up
his own like.
He was struggling under the weight of perfection, and he was dealing with the aftermath of his choice.
Yeah. And then, like with Uma Thurman, there was a little bit.
There wasn't much of a conflict, however, with Ethan and Jude.
Yeah, it was almost like in the like early stages where Jude was kind of like, "Oh, you can't be as perfect as me."
My eyes are pretty.
And Ethan's like, "Yeah, I have pretty eyes." And then Ethan's like, "Oh yeah, watch me." And Jude's like, "Oh shit, no, you did do pretty good. I'm good now."
Yeah. Shit, you did that to your legs? Fuck it, I'll join you. Yeah.
Right. So I think having like a very brief period of, I know it's formulaic, but like having them fall out and have conflict with each other would help out the screenplay a lot, and would have the audience more invested into these characters. Then by the time you get to the end of the journey, you feel more of a connection with these characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And side note with Jude Law's character, I really, really enjoyed that scene with so Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman are at some sort of gala at Gattaca, and Jude Law's character is like outside in his wheelchair, and then the cop goes to question him, and he was like, "You work at Gattaca and you're in a wheelchair?" And Jude Law's character is like, "How dare you? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you feel bad? You don't even, you can't even talk to me because you're not even as, high level as me, and this and that." And I really enjoyed that exchange because like it did a little tiny bit of world building. It's like, there's like some sort of class system based on genetics, ultimate eugenics going on in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a little bit more of that to pad it out to 90 minutes. Yeah.
It sparked it for me a little bit. A little bit of what I would change.
Yeah, I think you gave me also some Yeah, sorry.
No, but say what you meant. Sorry.
You gave me some excuses because I know I wanted to add some stuff in there, but I didn't want to take anything. I didn't know if I wanted to necessarily take things out. As per usual, I just want to cram more stuff in.
More stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find a healthy balance. Yeah, this movie, I liked it for the most part. Yeah. I loved Jude Law's character so much. Ethan Hawke's too, just the insane determination he had, and it was like believable also. It wasn't just he like, because a lot of movies like, oh, they're made for this, but he wasn't made for it, and he just through just the determination he had, like he had this goal, he had to make it and all of that. I actually didn't enjoy the whole Uma Thurman Ethan Hawke too much.
Yeah, same.
Oh really?
It felt by the numbers for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole movie was trying to be super special, but it felt like it had attack and romance.
Yeah, my major issue was Uma Thurman, for at least the first part of their relationship, was a little robot-y to me. And I can understand why they did it, like she's supposedly almost a perfect product like Jude Law. Like she was made for this, that's all she pretty much knows, but they are still human, and she does show more human aspect near the end, so kind of fixes itself a little bit. The narration, again, just Blade Runner theatrical release, flashbacks, PTSD there. And like, I would remove the whole narration and the flashback backstory part and kind of insert it in throughout. But I would keep the brother because I love the final scene with the, like you said, like nice little bow to tie up the whole family aspect. At least it was, I don't know. For me, it was a very emotional scene. And then taking out all that backstory, I would fill it in with. I'd probably start the movie a little bit earlier. Not when he's already working at Gattaca, but when he's already done the transformation and everything, and he's working to get into Gattaca, kind of thing, or maybe I don't know. Let me.
That's a good
put
spot.
my thoughts together.
Yeah,
and I want it to be kind of like somewhere around there, maybe a little bit earlier, and I want Jude Law and Ethan's character to be at odds at the beginning of the movie. And then there's that conflict. Jude Law can bring up his past while they're arguing with each other and stuff. Like, you were never good as your brother kind of stuff. Even though I'm not a very good writer, however, someone else can. It's just, I want the relationship to develop more, and then it makes it, I think, more deeper, like when Jude Law confronts the police officer and he's like, "How dare you?" It makes it a little bit more emotional that he's actually covering for Ethan Hawke, who hopefully at that point in the movie they're still arguing and he dislikes him to some extent. But it makes the relationship grow, makes the whole covering better, and then it makes the ending just even worse. At least you got him as an emotional wreck, hopefully. And that's actually probably the only thing that I would change, honestly. Maybe make Uma Thurman a little bit more human-like at the beginning.
How do you do it?
How would I do it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not. I don't make movies. How would I do it? I don't know. Give her like a mannerism or something. Like, even I'm gonna bring up the Joker, kind of from The Dark Knight, little lip licking thing that he did all the time. What? It was.
Just give her a tick.
It's a tick. Yeah, but still. Not a tick. Not a tick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like anything that she does that gives her just a little bit more character in the beginning, at least, or something. I don't know.
All I'm hearing is, instead of making her be more subtle about her condition, just be like, "Do you want to know I can't go into space?"
Why did I do this to myself? Anyway.
You want to know how I got this scar? I have a heart condition.
I don't know.
My daddy, he couldn't pay well enough for my heart.
Actually, that was what I was going to say for Uma.
Oh, shit, really?
Spoilers.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I don't know, just give her a little bit more character somewhere in the beginning, or just make her, how she acts later on, more similar to how she acted in the beginning.
Really? Because at the beginning of the movie, at least, like, of course, she does kind of have the, like, woman being written by a man syndrome in the first half, but the impression that I got, and maybe this is me just filling it in, it felt like she was just, like, wearing a mask, because she's, like, one of the only female characters. There's not a lot of women at Gattaca, and she's the only named female character in the movie, other than, like, I don't even think Vincent's mom is named, but, like, it seems like she's putting up a front, like, she's trying to not be vulnerable.
I mean, she calls Ethan out for looking up at this
guy.
Yeah,
exactly. She's like, "What are you doing sticking out like a sore thumb? That's weird."
To not care, just don't look up.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a good line, actually.
Yeah.
The movie's just full of good lines.
Oh, yeah. Very quotable.
And very quotable. Overall, I enjoyed the last, like, 20, 15 minutes. Okay, so Ethan Hawke saying I have to meet him, and how he meets the detective, his brother, do that somehow, like rip that out, get it out. I hated that so bad, in my opinion. Do it a different way, I'd say. I don't know. Maybe he actually does catch Ethan Hawke at the apartment, and that's how they confront each other. Maybe.
Oh, so like
that would
he
actually
gets the
be
call,
pretty good.
like yeah, like he gets the call that the purpose caught, and he doesn't care because he sees his brother for the first time in years. No, that's good.
10 years or so. Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when they agreed to do the whole contest again. And that could be a pretty good scene for how Jude and Uma Thurman take that the detective does find out who it was, or find who the invalid was in, and he doesn't turn him in or anything. But I just like the whole swimming scene at the end. I like that a lot. And I enjoyed the ending. The whole 15-20 minutes, really good in my opinion. Very, very nice. Well, almost everyone gets what they want.
Who doesn't get what they want?
That's right. Yeah, everyone gets what they want. As much as I did not want a certain thing to happen, makes sense.
Well, Anton wanted Vincent to like come home and resume his normal life. I don't know. Like technically, like they had the resolution.
He wanted to turn.
No, he didn't. He was offering to help him get away.
Yeah, he was like, "Come home. I'm gonna take care of you. Don't worry. You can leave this silly little dream behind."
I guess Anton is the only one that doesn't get what they want.
Yeah,
but yeah,
boo Anton, boo.
Boo Anton. Yeah, he was such a mean, perfect brother.
God.
Oh, I keep forgetting that he's the younger brother.
Yeah.
He's the younger brother?
Yes, Anton is the younger brother.
he's younger than Vincent by like 2 or 3 years, because Vincent was there when his parents were at the gene factory.
Right.
Yeah. And yet Vincent, like Anton was like taller, stronger, smarter.
Yeah, because he was gene edited. Yeah. He was a diner baby. That's the term I was trying to think of all this time.
Yeah.
I did also like the way Jude covered for him the second time when he like falls up the steps.
Oh yeah.
And then he like sits down, and then he sees Uma Thurman come in and is like, "Where's my kiss?"
All right.
Like, you could just feel that ooze of like, I'm better than both of these people kind of thing, even in that scene. Like, he was so in control, and just like he knew he was gonna get away with it, and
raised with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Yeah,
and
he's pretending to be himself, and he's doing a pretty good job.
That's the thing. Like, even though he's like paralyzed and all of that, he's still just like, people are nothing compared to me. I like that a lot. I like how he keeps that demeanor of being so superior. Yeah.
He only respects people whose names are Jerome or fake Jerome.
Don't call me Jerome. That's my doppelganger. My middle name's Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene or Jerome are the only two people he respects.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's basically it for me. Not a bunch of dislikes. And Armand, thank you for sparking what I would do. I do like your change also, though.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right.
Do you want to go next?
I can.
Okay. I accidentally saw the first line at your notes after you mentioned this bit here. Okay. Do you mind if I do a little
you can talk
personal thing? No, personal thing I want to mention related to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I liked about the movie, as I mentioned earlier, I had watched this before for a surveillance class, and I kind of delved into it a little earlier. There's two different types of surveillance in this. There's the being watched, the being tracked, but then there's the more important one, the data security. And for context, this movie came out 7 years after the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it came out a year after HIPAA.
Wait, was the
really?
Wait, the movie was the movie 1983 or 1985?
The movie came out in 97. The ADA came out in 1990.
Yeah, but say.
And HIPAA came around in 96.
Yeah.
So it was super steeped in all of this information. Even in the beginning monologue, there's the little throwaway line of, it's not illegal for companies to discriminate for it, but it's really hard to prove. Like, companies do that all the time nowadays.
Nobody's caring about the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I did. Two things about that. First thing, I didn't know what we were going to say that last bit there. I looked up something while I went a weird rabbit hole while looking up stuff for this movie. Mm-hmm. There is a Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act of 2008. Stops insurance from charging someone more for having genetic predisposition to certain diseases.
That was a part of Obamacare.
Or denying health people insurance. It was made during George W. Bush.
Okay, never mind. I thought it was during Obamacare because I know the pre-existing condition thing.
Yeah, I guess it was more enforcing it. Also, they can't deny health people insurance. Also, doesn't let employers make decisions for hiring, firing, or promotions based off genetic information. So this movie failed and broke the law. I'm joking. I know.
Nobody cares.
Sorry, and if I can make the second thing about the ADA, this is really off tangent. It's something that speaks to my heart. I don't like to go political on this show. I don't think this should be political. There was a thing that was trying to get passed back in June. I'm not sure if it's still
June of last year.
This year.
Oh, June of 2021.
So with the ADA, this is something I've had to learn in my job. It's kind of fucked up. If you have a disability, you can't really get married for the most part. Because then it's like, oh, you don't need help anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
What?
And you can't go, no, it's a thing. I know a few couples who I've worked with, well, not couples, but people I know who are in relationships, who cannot get married. They've been together for decades.
Wait,
they've been together for like a decade or more.
They cannot get married?
No. They are allowed to get married, but the problem is if your financial assets...
Yes.
If your financial assets reach a bare minimum threshold, and I mean bare minimum, you lose out on all your benefits. So if a disabled person gets married, almost automatically, they lose out on their benefits.
And you can't make over, I think it was 2,000?
2,000? Serious?
It was something like that. It wasn't a lot. It's not a lot.
Not
a lot. No, 2,000. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's a very...
I know it's like less than 30,000 for sure.
No, it's like you can't make over so much a month. You can't work over so many hours. It's like a lot of I work as a job coach, which is that I help people with intellectual disabilities at their jobs to get into their, they help them get into the flow of their jobs, and then I back away.
Yeah.
A lot of them can't work as much as I know for a fact they'd love to, because of this. So there was an act being made to try and get rid of that around June. I haven't been able to keep up. I keep trying to look up the news, what happened. Yeah, there's Bernie Sanders and a few others, which I'm not trying to be political. I just knew he's one of the few people who was spearheading this movement, or at least more of the face of the movement.
Wait.
Brought it up to Congress.
Oh, you want me to make it worse? Technically, people with disabilities, you are legally allowed to not pay them minimum wage. You can pay them sub-minimum wage.
That one's changing in quite a few states, luckily. Good. I think Washington is changing it, and I think Oregon's already... Yeah, no, it's Armand's face.
I don't.
What?
I live in Chicago. I don't think they do that here.
I don't know. I don't know Chicago's laws, but...
Yeah, no, I found that out a few years ago. It's horrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, people with disabilities are seen as lesser. Heck, Asperger's and other disabilities Asperger's was made by a Nazi. The term for it was come up by, I think it was a Nazi, who just was like, oh, this is a person with not so bad autism. They can still be a productive enough member of society. We don't have to send them to the camps or anything, if I'm remembering the story correctly. But yeah, no, a lot of this stuff is...
The history of disability rights super sucks.
Yeah, no, it's a
lot sucks.
No, but like a lot of the improvements are very recent, and the very recent history, especially in Oregon, if you were a person with disabilities in Oregon before like the 90s,
yeah, no,
you had a bad time, bud.
Yeah, no, I've had to look up. Was it Fairview? In Oregon?
Yeah,
it's a home for people with disabilities, and they nearly basically kill people. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was the inspiration was Fairview. I think the name was Fairview. Yeah. No, I know people who have been I know people who were living there.
That's in Salem, right? That's in the capital.
It was around there. Yeah, I knew people who lived there. It's pretty fucked up. Like, they're the happiest people. You wouldn't have guessed, but like, oh man.
So, moral of the story: don't Google the history of disability rights if you're having like a good day or if you don't want to get mad.
And contact your senators and government officials to change these laws, archaic laws, to give people with disabilities the rights that they should have. Because they're humans. They're people. They should have the same rights.
How come no one's talking about this?
Because
it's easier to bury your head in the sand because it's so horrifying.
Most people don't care about people with disabilities. They just look the other way.
It's kind of that out of sight, out of mind thing.
The talk is more of like mansion and cinema and the infrastructure bill right now.
Although the infrastructure, I know for a fact the infrastructure bill needs to be talked about, but yeah, there's a lot of like fluff.
Yeah, I know, but
really
there needs to. Yeah, they could just add a little segment of this somewhere because.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to overtake all this.
No, you're fine. This is a conversation that should be had.
And it should be had, and it makes a lot of sense with this movie.
Yeah, because like I said, the context of like society during this time, like healthcare and data privacy was something that people talked about. Like my mom, she worked in the insurance industry around the time that HIPAA came out, and she remembered like a lot of people being super upset that like all this stuff had changed about data privacy. Also, hold on to your tin hats, guys. Your health data that's supposed to be super secure isn't always that very secure. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, for the movie?
No, just in general. Just a little bit of life advice for everybody.
I mean, in this movie, one girl kissed a guy, and then he was gonna get his saliva to find out who he was. And that should technically be HIPAA.
Wait, what?
In the movie,
I totally forgot about that scene. Yeah, they go to this thing to, the gene bank to find out who they are.
It's a really good world. It's really subtle world building, but I dug it hard.
That's kind of like a thing of like, oh, is this like a person that's genetically good enough for me?
Is this
enough
a
in general?
good
You are
potential
correct.
mate? Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely overlooked. Yeah, that's a violation of HIPAA.
Yeah.
No, it's this movie's really fun with its world building.
No, nobody cares about the law in this movie.
Obviously not.
No.
But anyways, so keep that in mind. I really liked just learning about that. I liked the surveillance, and I loved the quote from Tony Shalhoub. I think his name's Germain.
German.
Yeah, German. Oh, it's just German?
Yeah, which I had a little fun.
Yeah, I know you're going to get into that, but the quote I loved from Tony Shalhoub was like, you don't even need a picture nowadays. You just need somebody's DNA.
Yeah.
Because that is the surveillance of this movie. It doesn't care it doesn't matter what he looks like.
Somebody looked at a photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next point, I loved some of the subtle details in this movie. Longtime listeners will know Hector and I watch with subtitles. So in the PA system in the background, they have a foreign language playing, but if you watch with the subtitles, they have a language called Esperanto. Now, I'm familiar with Esperanto because I had a coworker who was trying to get me to learn Esperanto. Long story, but what you need to know about Esperanto is it's a constructed language. It's manufactured, completely fake.
Just like the gene editing in this movie.
Exactly. It's instead of using a natural language to communicate with people about this information, they used a conlang, a constructed language, and keep in mind this language was actually designed to be a easier language to learn than like most other languages. Also, fun fact, Eugene, the U in his name is a Greek root for good. So Jerome, his middle name is Jerome Good Genes.
Yeah.
And while we were talking, I realized Jerome sounds kind of like genome.
Oh, wow. I missed that
DNA
one.
Good Genes Moreau.
Wow. That's
I thought marrow was like a blood marrow, like bone marrow thing that you can donate.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah.
I thought that might have been a bit of a stretch, but I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
This is literally something I come up as a name.
I thought about the marrow and bone marrow kind of stuff. I thought about that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about genome and good genes and all that.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Mackey for teaching us Greek roots, because that's how I remembered it.
Thank you, Mrs. Mackey. She's our English teacher. She'll never listen to this podcast.
She never will, but I'm giving her the shout out anyway. But yeah, the same root is also used in eugenics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another thing I loved, Pluto got some love.
Mm-hmm.
I am Team Pluto. At me, I don't care.
I think everyone agrees that Pluto should at least still be somewhat of a planet.
Yeah, they keep saying like it's a moon. Like, no, it's not. It revolves around the sun.
It's a dwarf now. Dwarf planet.
Dwarf planet, right?
Okay, as long as the word planet's in there.
Yeah. And it's in a perpetual dance with its partner. Ceres?
The mystery planet.
Ceres?
They should call it Persephone. Or not, whatever the Roman equivalent
Planet
of Persephone
X.
is.
I mean, Pluto, Hades. Pluto makes sense because Pluto's Hades.
Yeah, and so if it's Hades, the mystery planet should be like the Roman equivalent of Persephone.
Mystery planet?
Oh, I get it now. Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
They're talking about the lost planet X, Nibiru, where the Anunnaki come from, the people that control human life.
Oh, the space lizard people.
Yes, exactly.
I have never heard of this.
Well, it's
the
real.
lizard people. They come from the mystery Pluto Persephone planet.
Yeah.
I'm so worried people are gonna think you're being serious here.
Yeah, you said it so matter of fact.
We didn't know about this, Ed.
No, but I know.
Did you go to school?
Yeah.
I know that Pluto and Ceres, they're so close in mass that their orbit is like in space, so they're like dancing with each other.
Right. Which is
exactly, and I'm saying
that one should be named Persephone.
Yes,
yeah.
Or the Roman equivalent of whatever the hell Persephone.
What is the name of that planet though? Isn't it Ceres? Ceres?
I think it's Ceres.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's Ceres with a C.
Yeah, Ceres with a C.
Mm-hmm.
Jude Law in this movie is such a mood. Like when
the man's just a master of bromances.
He is, but like I don't know, just like watching him kind of like lounge about occasionally, like sharing some he's like technically the vibe he gave off was like Real Housewife of Los Angeles.
I've never seen that.
I haven't either.
I want to say my favorite line from him, where it's like in the flashback, he asks them how tall he is. He's like 4'6".
Yeah, I like that.
In the wheelchair.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Good.
And I put this in as but like I might take it out now because like part of me was like really interested in the relationship between Anton and Vincent, but I might have misunderstood it because when I was watching through the movie, at first through most of the movie, it seems like Anton learned from his from that flashback, but then at the very end he kind of like rescinds what I thought he had learned.
When did you think he learned it?
So throughout the movie he's like no, stop caring about this invalid thing. We don't care about the invalid. Stop it. That's not important. We need to figure out the facts, right? He's going for the actual murder. To me, it felt like I didn't know if he knew it was his brother. Quite a bit he didn't know it was his brother until like they got the invalid data. But the implication that I got was like, hey, invalid people aren't necessarily don't count them out. They're still gonna like kick ass somehow. I'm not too surprised that there's somebody here. Because he saw his own brother like save his ass that one time on the beach when they were kids.
Yeah.
Teenagers, but still. But then at the very end he's like, Vincent, you're nothing without me. You're my big baby brother. Like, you're weak, I'm strong, let me take care of you. But yeah, thinking back on it, it kind of seems like my perception was not the case, and that makes me sad. So, I'm going to, in my edits, I'm going to assume that's the case, that I am right. In my dislikes, first of all, I need to set this clear. Being left-handed is not it's not like a bad thing. And
you're right. It's a horrible thing.
No. Full offense.
Give me a minute.
It's the wrong hand.
I'm not trying to slow this down anymore, you guys. Come on. She's looking at me even more pissed. Okay, I live with her. Please stop.
Okay, for context, surprise, surprise, I'm left-handed. And there's the one bit where he's like, why do you have to be left-handed? Okay, maybe some people would genetically modify their kids to be left-handed. You don't know, movie. And I'm salty about it.
They were right for usually right-handed people don't hold it with their left hand. That's all he said.
Yeah.
I really like that line.
The only other line that like mentions he's left-handed is like, yeah, I guess nobody orders for southpaws anymore. Like,
yeah. No, that's the one that pissed me off.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Dude, that doctor was so funny.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I liked the doctor a lot.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the true MVP of this movie.
He was in there for one scene and just.
No, he was there for a couple.
He was there for like 4 or 5 scenes.
In the very beginning, at the very end.
Oh, that doctor.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the guy who made the deal happen. Never mind. Yeah.
No. You're thinking about Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, the doctor was really cool. That was a really cool callback from beginning to end.
Something better for me.
That was a really good foreshadowing to that gene editing twist.
Yeah. Also, I loved how subtle as a brick it was with the genocism thing. Like, people discriminate with on you if your genes aren't 100% perfect. Very subtle, very show, don't tell. They didn't have like a good they spent like a good 5 minutes of the exposition just talking about the discrimination that people face, right?
Mm-hmm. They did show some more discrimination that was kind of interesting.
They did or did not?
They did. Like the whole like invalid area looked like pretty
Detroit.
poor.
One thing that I had remembered from my initial viewing, I didn't like Uma Thurman's character because she was just kind of like there throughout the movie. I felt like, again, she felt like a woman being written by a dude. It kind of came off.
I think
she's supposed.
Here's my theory. I'm sorry. Here's my theory with
you're
Uma Thurman. So I think she was a last minute addition because I think someone. So like the main stories between Jude Law and Ethan Hawke. Probably someone was like, there's a lot of dudes in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to give Ethan Hawke the case of the not gays. Let's put a woman in there. And that's where Uma Thurman came into play.
That makes a lot of sense.
Is this a reverse of that Silent Hill thing where they added more of what's his face?
Sean
I've listened to your episode on it.
Oh, thank you.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've listened to your episode on it. I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, this movie's all chicks. Let's throw in some dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
But yeah, I felt like she was a very interesting foil, but the movie didn't care. Like, I don't know, I felt like she was very interesting because, like...
She was interesting in one scene.
She had potential. She
had a lot of potential to be interesting.
But yeah, she had potential, but it seems like they didn't either they didn't care enough to show it or bring it up as often, or they just didn't have they couldn't think of a good way to implement more of that in there.
Yeah, no, the more I think about it, the story is very biased to Ethan's point of view, where like he talks about like how classism, racism, sexism, none of that's a thing anymore, but like the more I think about it, that is not the case.
There's only one black guy in the entire movie.
There's only one black guy. The one female character is basically like, sweetie, on top of all your other responsibilities, can you like solve a murder, please? Thank you. And like there's the poverty thing with the invalids. Yeah, like there's a lot of intersectional stuff going on. But then Ethan Hawke is just kind of like crying because he can't be an astronaut, and like there's not supposed to be discrimination before or anymore. So like, what gives?
This whole thing worked a lot better as a TV show, to be honest.
Actually, yeah.
Just to flesh it out more.
I hate that line. This movie could be better as a TV show. I hate it.
You know what
everybody says that.
Well, let me defend that.
You know what I mean.
Hold on.
They have more time. That's all they have.
They were gonna make Gattaca into a TV show, and then it got
seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, this movie has like 5 different plot lines between like the mission going to space, and then like the brother thing, and then the partner thing with Jude Law, and then the love interest with Uma Thurman, and then the murder thing with the detectives, and it's like, oh my god. So it could have worked as a miniseries. One season.
And
that's it.
Yeah, now I'm gonna add like 3 more. But first.
Oh no.
The slang in this movie, like it's interesting world building. But when we were watching it, I think I mentioned this earlier, like they said the word degenerate. And like this is a very serious movie and there's not a lot of like humor in it. And I just burst out laughing. Because it didn't fit the tone of the movie. It sounds like something middle schoolers in this world would call each other.
Do you think it was something like when they were revising and it was like, we need to make this movie more serious, but that's too good of a pun. Let's keep it in there.
Yeah, like you degenerate.
Because I know I've done that with my writing. It's like, I actually like this too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the tone, but whatever. I don't know.
It felt like something that should have been scrubbed earlier.
Also, like, how do I say this? It fits in a sense because, like, people make really offensive jokes. It kind of fits if it's trying to be more realistic in that regard. People would say stupid.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Jokes.
But the film itself is painted as this
Fair enough.
very serious, like the theme of the movie, this like theme intro. It's so like sad and melancholy and just kind of like. It's like deep and it makes you ponder. Now imagine this very thoughtful musical piece as somebody says, degenerate! And keep a straight face.
He was a poopy head.
He's just a big old dum-dum. And that kind of segues into my next bit. I disliked the fact that they called like the perfect people valids and imperfect people invalids. It kind of felt weird.
A little too ableist for
it's
your
a little
life.
ableist, but also just doesn't make sense because obviously not everyone's going to be gene edited in this world. Like I think the cop that was working for Anton, he was implied to have been too old for this like gene editing thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like maybe in 1 or 2 generations this would be a thing, but like it was implied older people didn't have that, so it seemed a little early to have that level of genocism. If I can use the movie's terminology.
I see what you're saying. Actually, it doesn't. I think that's actually a flaw with the fact the movie doesn't give a clear time frame.
Yeah.
Of when.
Because like. When I was watching, it almost seemed like invalid was like when, like if somebody had gone off the grid, and even then they don't explain like the going off the grid thing. Apparently, if you are an invalid, if you are a degenerate, you have to check in X amount of years to make sure that you aren't committing fraud because that's such a thing that can happen, apparently. But
where did you find that in the movie?
In the part where they're at the invalid camp, Anton is talking with his cop buddy, the invalid cop, and the two of them are talking and they're saying like that whoever is impersonating this member of Gattaca, he must have been doing this for years. He's got to have like missed out on reporting his invalid status.
Oh wow, that's a very important.
Yeah, no, they don't touch that at all, and it's really confusing because like it's
Wow. Okay.
And it is there, I promise. If I could give a timestamp, I would, but...
What did you say, Ed? Sorry?
I didn't notice that line at all. I don't remember it at all.
I know it was there, because I can remember it clear as day. Anyways, how I would fix the movie, the only thing I could think of was, like, again, shoving more stuff in there. I kind of would have liked to see more of an anthology, like having more people's perspective. As I was talking about the dislikes, I mentioned like Ethan talks about his own problems a lot, but honestly, it does seem like the society is still super far from perfect. They're still sexist, they're still racist, they're still like classist. It just has kind of changed. So I would have liked to see like different perspectives from like Anton and Irene and Jerome specifically.
I mean, it makes
or
sense.
Jerome Eugene.
I mean, it makes sense. The movie's trying to show, like, yeah, the more we try to fix ourselves, arguably the worse we make everything.
You know, like we try to fix our genes, but that makes society's flaws just stand out even more.
Oh, I thought you were saying like an individual. Like the more we try and perfect ourselves, the worse we like.
No. But the more we try to like fix our society in such drastic and weird ways, the more it can show flaws of humanity. Yeah.
So like with Anton, for example, again, I kind of liked the idea of he's had this character growth that we haven't seen on screen. I would have liked to have seen that flesh out a little bit more. Maybe like I don't know how, but like have him show like he's not a dick to invalids. He's not like, oh, who did the crime? It's probably the poor. Like I'm not going to discriminate against the invalid person who's people are going to assume have done this crime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him a fair shake. I think Irene was the most interesting to me because she's in this weird place where she looks like, I guess in this world she probably looks like she's valid, but she passes enough as being valid, but then she's got her heart condition. And so what happened in my mind in this reshoot is again, I don't know, maybe she's just like talking with Ethan. He's like, so what do you mean you're invalid? What is that? Like, how did that happen? And she's like, oh, well, when my parents decided to have me, they were wealthy, but they were losing out on their money. So my father decided to make me as beautiful as possible, but he didn't have enough money to like prevent all the diseases. So when I was born, I had a very high likely chance of heart disease. And again, that kind of shows like, okay, maybe like Vincent's perspective of sexism, that isn't over. Like she was seen as like an object. And that's why like she's wanting to be an astronaut. Maybe, I don't think, she's like working in the same room as Vincent, but she's not supposed to be an astronaut. She said she can never leave Earth. She's an astronaut, but like she's only circling the sun on this current satellite, which is the dorkiest way to say it.
I liked it.
I liked it too, but it was like, that's the, I don't know, weird phrasing.
I'll talk about that in my talk about the movie. I have some thoughts on that.
But yeah, I don't know, just like adding more depth to the characters. I would have liked to see a little bit more of how Desperate Housewives or Real Housewives of Los Angeles with Eugene Jerome a little bit more, just a little bit more of his character.
Yeah.
I don't have as much of what I'd necessarily like to see, but again, I'd just like to see a little bit more of him out in the like moments like where he was talking with the cop, where like he's being himself, where he's not like having to do things for Ethan.
Yeah.
Because like I feel one of the things I really liked, and I'm surprised I didn't mention, I really liked the kind of like subtle storytelling with Jerome. Like you can obviously tell like he's got a lot on his mind. He's got like this kind of internal struggle of so much is expected of me. Have I really accomplished that? How can I accomplish that? Am I worthy of accomplishing that? Just like there's a lot going on behind his eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wish we could have seen more of that.
No, yeah, same.
Yeah.
So you fixed?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, it's good. I have a similar idea of that.
Feel free.
So, I guess I'll start with my likes because I need the structure. Like, I need to get this. It helps. The likes. The acting I actually think is pretty solid, especially like Jude Law stole every scene he was in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Once again, no one mentioned the music. Well, Armand mentioned the music a little bit.
I mentioned the music.
Yeah.
I did not mention the music.
You did at one point as a joke when you were saying like you made that joke about like how people were talking about like poo poo, and then the music swells or whatever.
Oh yeah.
No, that was during my bit.
Well, yeah, but you said
we're all kind of making
yeah. Well, he was one who specifically I think mentioned the music. Anyway,
yeah.
Point is, I actually really dug the music. Like, I know it's like that it gave that kind of inspirational like thing. The whole theme was like, persevering through all this difficulty and seeing the stars at the end of it. And I thought the music did a really good job of getting that sense of work to get to discovery. So, like, major props. I guess the high notes interlaced throughout and the strings, The Departure is the song that I think plays when he's flying off, and it was probably my favorite song on the soundtrack. I sometimes listen to when I'm trying to write, I try to listen to the soundtrack a little bit, and it was probably my favorite.
Nice.
Again, how did this movie fail? Honestly, it made $12 million on a $36 million budget. I don't know Armand's face.
Unfortunately, sci-fi movies just tend to not do well for some reason.
And this one seemed a lot more like highbrow too, like deep thinky movie.
Yeah, I tend to forget that.
Official term, mind you.
I do tend to forget that both Blade Runners were technically not successful because they're just talked about so much. I guess I sometimes forget cult classics are just that. Speaking of cult classics and high sci-fi, great introduction for many people to talk about like transhumanism and all those fun little discussions on it. Yeah, no, we had to talk about CRISPR and stuff like that in college. It was like it was advocates for free thought and skepticism group in college. We had a good talk about that. It was, I don't know, just stuff like that. It's just fun. Hopefully if people get into this movie more, maybe from this podcast, we can start thinking about like all these things that are starting to become more relevant. Yeah, they added little things in the movie that I thought were interesting that add to like either the theme or just the conversation this movie was trying to have. Like Ruthie mentioned the Esperanto thing that we both kind of discovered together. I
pointed it out, but you had the good like insight on
it. Also Gattaca. G, the only letters in that are G, guanine, A, adenine, C, cytosine, and T, thymine, the 4 nucleobases of DNA.
Yes.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
It was also the 4 letters that were highlighted in the opening credits because those are the DNA letters.
Mm-hmm. Ruthie caught the DNA letter thing. Thank you for that, because I was like, what is up with the letters? And she was like, DNA. I'm like, oh shit. Also, I kind of like that the guy who set up Eugene and Vincent was a guy named German in a movie about eugenics. They never say his name. They don't even say his name. Oh God! He did a Hitler stash.
He mimed a Hitler stash.
Yes. Yeah. It was. The movie doesn't say it's German, but like when we were watching on Amazon Prime, and when they pause, they say like the cast and the name.
Well, and again in the subtitles, didn't it say like because sometimes they say who's speaking?
I didn't see it there. Okay. Maybe you did and I missed it, but
maybe I'm making it up.
I actually put this on my likes, and I'm very I feel I'm going to be the contrarian. I didn't mind the narration as much.
It went on a little long.
It went a little long.
Armand.
It's a bit, yeah.
He's ready to throw hands.
I'm ready to throw hands. Get that narration
if we ever meet up,
I'm gonna narrate your life. How about that?
You're gonna be very. And today,
are you just against Hector just narration, Armand?
Hector just lost a round of Smash Brothers Online again for the 4th time, and this stubborn jackass is challenging the guy for the 5th time now.
And he's eating the cereal. No milk.
Wait, so Armand, do you just not like narration in movies just in general?
No, I do if it's done well. I just don't think Gattaca
it's not the best. I thought it was okay. Maybe because I like the visuals along with the narration. It felt like an audiobook. I don't know.
Exactly. It would have
Okay.
worked as a novel, which is what I said earlier. It's like,
I know,
this would be
I know.
perfect as a book.
I know, I agree with you. It just wasn't annoying, and I don't know why. Maybe because the yellow filter made everything feel a bit more dreamlike.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, out of curiosity and a side tangent, Armand, what is a movie with good narration? What's like the gold standard?
Oh no.
Or at least what's like a
Blade
silver
Runner.
standard? Okay.
No.
Perfect. Got it.
I can't think of one either.
Devil All the Time.
That's a good one.
It has the book author
You
actually
know?
narrating.
Which one?
Devil
The
All the
Devil All the
Time.
Time?
It's
I
Tom
think
Holland. Robert
actually
Pattinson.
does have some
Oh.
good narration.
I couldn't finish that movie.
Really?
Oh, really?
I was so bored. I was like,
Really, huh?
Wow.
I want to see Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland and all that, but I was like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, world. I couldn't do it.
Some will forgive, we will not. No.
Other than the Devil
I
All the
liked that
Time.
movie. I don't know. It felt like
Arrival had some.
I haven't seen Arrival.
I haven't seen it.
You have not seen.
I have not. I'm sorry.
I'm looking up.
Ed,
we Sorry,
lost
world.
Ed.
I have.
Oh wait, no, I did see Arrival.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
no.
of course. I
I
would have
saw-
assumed you would have seen Arrival.
I know.
Editor note, we had some technical difficulties and had to pause for a second.
But yes, Hector, as you were saying,
I'm not Hector.
And Ed wanted the good soundbite of you being like Arrival's good narration.
but yes, Ed, I agree. Arrival does have a good narration style.
Yeah.
You happy, Ed? You got him to suck Arrival's like bits.
Hey, let's be fair. I would too. And Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director. So
Oh, that's fair.
Oh,
Okay,
Can't wait
that
for
makes sense.
Dune.
mine too, Ed.
my 5
It's
virtual.
great. Enemy is a great short film.
Enemy
It's actually a
short
theatrical film, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing. Speaking of yellow filters that I mentioned earlier, why is there a yellow filter? Is it some symbolism
Sci-fi.
thing? I don't know.
Aesthetic.
I know some of my likes, but there's one thing I didn't like the yellow filter in, which the first beach scene, because it makes it all look brown with the water.
Yeah.
It threw me off, and I'm like, I even asked Ruthie, like, wait, did they change something else? It's like, oh no, it's a yellow filter.
Honestly,
And I'm
it's
like,
a, it's
oh.
a it was a trend in the 90s, I think,
It really
with
was.
the color grade.
I know that one, but why yellow?
Oh.
That's the thing.
I don't know. It looks sci-fi, I guess.
It does, though, in my opinion. It makes it look at Arrival.
Maybe it's just because, like, I don't know, the movie's set in like Los Angeles, so yellow, very, very hot, very warm, so it's giving you like the illusion of heat. I don't know.
That's fair.
On top of everything else. Thank you, Boomer.
Our cat is playing with a jingly toy. Our Mr. Jingle Man. See, also, the movie has, like, really good consistency and, like, continuity. Like, Vincent has heart problems, and it comes up more than just once. Like, it keeps
the
being
jogging scene?
not just a jogging scene, but also when he's running away, he's just having problems, or he's, like, there's a few moments where he's just, like, freaking out about his heart. So, like, it's good. Or, like, Irene has heart problems, too, so it comes up in a few scenes. Like, it's just really good continuity in that regard, and they kept that in mind.
Just one-offs, yeah.
I actually like how most of the characters are written. Again, Eugene kind of stole the show. I like the idea of struggling so much under the weight of having perfection thrust upon you.
Yeah.
That you just buckle under it is a weird... It was a take I wasn't expecting. And it, and it's something I don't really think about. So it was a good, like, thought experiment. Our cat brought the jiggly toy back.
Not just
I threw it in the bedroom.
yeah, not just perfection, but like expectations and feeling like you failed at what you were.
Yeah.
The standard you were set to.
Yes.
Yeah, because he got sober.
Literally his birthright.
Yeah. I have I related to that.
The quotes are really good. Like, we now have discrimination down to a science. Blood has no nationality. I know no one else here feels good. I know everyone here's a bit more hesitant, but degenerate. It's just kind of funny.
It's just, I can't take it seriously.
I only lent you my body, but you lent me your dream. Is like, it's a good quote. The movies, and the final quote to send it all home, which it's long. I'm not gonna say it. It's good. There's just so many good quotes here.
Yeah.
And one more question. Eugene burning himself. Is that symbolism that I'm missing?
I mean, he already was. He already
returned.
Was kind of like...
So, okay. Ethan Hawke's character, Vincent, was talking about, I don't know how this fits into the film, but we all came from stardust. And Jerome, is that his name?
Jerome, yes.
Jerome decided to, I mean, he kind of fulfilled his duty. There's not much to live for him in this society, so he decided to choose his own end of life plan and incinerate himself. I would have chose a different way, but he decided to become dust. And he was talking about stardust. I don't know. That's the only connection I could see.
I didn't even think about that one. That's good.
And also bookends the film because in the beginning he's burning off Vincent. He's scrubbing off like his dead skin flakes, so there's no evidence of his DNA. And he uses the incinerator, so it bookends the movie.
And in a way, it's just like a continuation of his role in Vincent's life because he's adding fuel. He's giving his own body fluids to Vincent, fueling his dream in a way.
Oh, yeah, and it's like right as the rocket goes off. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. That actually does.
Yeah.
I think I was missing something. Thank you, guys. Okay, now to my dislikes, which I already mentioned one of them. I didn't like the yellow filter. Here's the other one. Irene's bed near the beach was a little confusing in the weirdest way. So, if anyone remembers, Irene's bed is like right near the beach. The sex scene shit, it's near the beach.
Yeah.
What I thought was going on, it was like a weird hologram thing. Because it looks so different. Like with the framing of the windows, I thought it was like...
Well, and it was upside down too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so it was just weird. And I guess it's because when I was watching this movie, I was thinking, we're watching this with Armand. And what other movies we watched with Armand, or talk about with Armand, it was Minority Report, which dealt with that, which had like holograms and stuff. So I guess I had that kind of a thing, and it was weird. So imagine my surprise when naked ass Vincent goes out to the beach and starts scrubbing himself. I'm like, oh wait, that was a hologram. Wait, is the bed right outside the beach? That's a little weird. And I remembered, wait, they're in a beach, they're in a LA, so
yeah,
that makes sense. But it took me a second.
Is it because you think you could see into the window, into the bed? Because I would assume
the framing of it was weird.
Oh, it was odd. And fade to black where you don't show anything.
Yeah.
It was all bizarre.
Yeah. Thanks for what's the word?
Articulating
what else? Yeah, feeling. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
So so here's the changes. I thought they were going somewhere with the fact that Eugene and Vincent both got ID'd on the same night in different places. Because that would be like part of Anton's case to build up that there's something weird going on there. But that was never brought up.
It could have been.
It could have been.
It would have been interesting.
I know it's a retro-futuristic movie, but they would have... But considering when it was made, and they had most of the same technology except for this one thing of tracing, they would still have logs of where the person was traced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something I was surprised was not mentioned.
Who knows?
That's my first change. The second one I'm a little iffy on because Irene's the only female, and I'm not trying to do something that's like make the only female kind of a jerk. But I thought it would be an interesting. But I was kind of putting it more in a lens of the theme of society, the more sociological lens this movie has.
Well, you could easily do that just by having more characters who are women.
Fair enough, but I kind of want to focus more on Irene.
Well, oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, easy way to subvert that. Just 1, make more women. 2, Irene specifically.
Thank you for fixing it. Here's how I wanted to do. So Irene should have wanted to say, you know how he calls her, Vincent says, like, why are you in the system that, he kind of calls her for being part of the system that is discriminating against her, right, for her heart condition.
Yeah.
But she was raised right in that kind of middle where, like, she had some problems, but she was still better than most, arguably. Because she was still up one of the elite. So she's had some cognitive dissonance, and it would have been cool if the movie focused on that. So once she starts to figure out in the beginning that there's something up with Vincent, because when they were first flirting with the hair shit, I thought it was a honeypot situation, and that she was just trying to catch him because she was put in charge of the thing of catching the guy who did this, and she had feelings that it was.
For context, honeypot. What that means is you're like presenting an attractive situation, like for example, a love interest, a date, a girlfriend, etc. In an attempt to catch somebody in the act.
Think like spy films where
like the stereotypical like Bond, like the Bond woman, or the love interest in Indiana Jones. I think it was 3. She was a honeypot.
So I thought she was honeypotting him, and then so maybe she's trying to honeypot him. I had a really inappropriate way of where she can get his DNA. You can probably guess what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say it. Yes, his poop. Thank you, Armand.
Yes.
Wow, that was a sucker punch. Give me a minute. So she honeypots him, but for some reason, she can't find enough DNA or proof on him. So then she's like, "Oh, finally, I'll bring Alton, the detective, to Anton. Why is it Alton? Yes, the chef, Alton.
Yes.
No, Anton. She brings him to the house, and the whole scene plays as it is. Then she gets so angry and so stressed of this whole situation that afterwards she goes home and she dies of her heart condition.
Oh, there we go.
Just as a way so that he gets away with it at the end.
Yeah.
Because I liked the whole thing of him going to space. But again, it was super dark. But so I kind of liked it, but I was also like, does it fit the tone? I'm not fully sure.
I think it does, and it's an interesting take on their relationship. It's a lot more nuanced than the stereotypical, the woman has dreams, but she can never accomplish them, so she's just going to let the man do it for her.
And like, sure, we're having the dissonance, but again, she just at the end decided to, nope, I'm going to stick with the society that I was raised in. Also, I thought of a way to hint more at Anton being the detective. So like maybe when he first saw, I don't know if this happened, but maybe when he first saw the picture of Vincent, he tenses up a bit in this background, like, more subtly in the background, which everyone is
just like even an eyebrow raises. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, like you think, it's because it's an invalid. Invalid. Thank you.
Yeah.
But nope, it's because it's his brother, and maybe also when he's talking, maybe did they meet once before or no?
No, they never saw each other until after Anton knew there's an invalid. And even then, it was like way after.
Yeah. Maybe, I was thinking maybe he has a scene where he meets, like near the end he meets. But I don't know how I fix it because it messes up the whole scene with, remember he talks on the phone with Vincent and he's like, I had a brother who would have looked up to you.
Or maybe that's when he's like, could you have it in the scene where he visits Jerome and Eugene's house?
Yeah, but then he doesn't see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see. Like, yeah, my brother would have looked up to you if he was still alive.
Yeah, my brother would have been so jealous of you. You got to be an astronaut. He's like a janitor probably somewhere.
Or he's dead.
Yeah, he's probably super
dead. Maybe not dead, but just like he probably died years ago.
They assume, Anton mentioned that his parents died believing that they outlived Vincent.
But they mentioned that he mentions that after at the very end, but I was thinking like foreshadowing because it was kind of sudden that that's I'm the brother. It felt like a soap opera twist.
Yes, it did. I don't know, but I feel that the scene where it's Anton and he's flipping between Jerome and his brother, I feel that was a very obvious hint that I just didn't pick up on because he's just flipping between the two pictures back and forth.
Yeah, that probably is. I thought it was just him piecing it together. Again, that was probably a good one too.
Also, like, they picked the worst way to try and, like, the worst kind of picture to identify people by, because, like, they are not good quality pictures. Did anyone else
No.
get that impression?
Retrofuturism.
I mean, I know it's retrofuturism, but it's, like, the weirdest thing, because it looks like the, it looks like the cover art from, the one song, I Can Feel It in the Air Tonight, from Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, every picture looks like somebody's take on that, but not clear at all.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder people don't go by pictures anymore in this universe.
I think Ruthie talking about, this was a last minute edition.
Yes.
I think Ruthie talking about like getting more of a societal look made me think of, this movie would have been more fun with, and making a bit, maybe showing a bit of what Ed was saying about putting it earlier in the film. Having having Jerome Eugene teach Vincent how to get used to being a higher up in society, a la My Fair Lady or Pygmalion. Just a few scenes of world building through all that. Because they do little bits like, that was my interview? Like, that should have been red flag number 1 that this guy's fucking lying. He's a borrowed ladder.
Yeah.
Like, he should have been taught stuff like that ahead of time. So it would have been fun if we kind of got to see some of that through.
Yeah, that would be actually good for my take on it. Like, just after the transformation, it's more Jude Law teaching him how to fit into the higher class society, and that's where they come at odds, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good take on it too. Yeah, just a little Pygmalion thing. Like, I don't know.
Because he'd be such a pompous ass. Like, no, you don't ask for anything. You are Jerome Morrow. You just tell people what to do. And he's like, well, I don't know. That doesn't seem nice. You're not nice. You're Jerome.
Yeah, I'm still jealous he can always do that accent.
I mostly just want an excuse to, like, try a Jude Law impression.
That's fair. He's
got a fun voice to try. My eyes are prettier.
My eyes are prettier.
And you have to almost, like, add a shoulder wiggle to every, like, cocky thing he says.
Armand, you try it.
Give us your take.
No.
It's Leviosa. Leviosa.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, Jude Law. What a guy.
Again, he doesn't look like Jude Law. Jude Law does
no,
not look like
he
Jude
looks
Law.
like, have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
He looks like Jojen Reed. If you remember the kid that took Bran up to the Beyond the Wall, to the Three-Eyed Raven.
Oh, he does. Jojen. I know Jojen.
Oh yeah. He was in The Maze Runner.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also haven't seen The Maze Runner.
I
feel so left out.
He was in Nanny McPhee.
That does not help. Okay, it's fine. Whatever.
Okay,
it's fine.
I'm trying. I
I
never
appreciate
remember
it.
his name. He's got baby face.
He was in The Queen's Gambit as an adult.
I haven't seen that either. Wow, that's 4 for 4 now.
Dude, that's right. Right, he was the U.S. chess player.
Yeah.
With the hat and trench coat.
Yes.
My friend hates that show.
That's what he looks like. He's 30.
Oh, I recognize that dude. Yeah,
he's 31.
Yeah, he was Ferb.
Oh, that's Ferb.
Yeah, he's Ferb. I know the actor. Yeah, Thomas.
Okay.
Thomas Brody Sangster. He's
Phineas and Ferb.
I didn't know he was Ferb.
Yeah, he's Ferb from Phineas and Ferb.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But
whoa.
We done?
Yeah. No.
We done?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Are you finished?
We're all done. We're all done with our. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we're
That
done.
was your
Yeah.
last edit?
That was
You're
my last
finished?
edit. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to give it a grade as it stands, Armand?
Oh, me first. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go. Do it.
Do you want someone else to go first so the pressure's off
No.
you? Okay.
I know what I'll give it. Like a C minus.
C minus.
Wow.
Higher than I thought you would.
Oh, wow.
From how you talked about it. It's higher than I thought.
There are some redeeming things. There are a few things that knock it down for me, but like a C minus,
All right,
straddling
that's
a C.
I'm gonna give it a B minus. I came in thinking B, but you brought up some good points. We all brought up some good points, and it knocked it down. What's that?
See, I was gonna give it an A, but now I feel peer pressured. I'm gonna say A minus.
Everyone give it a minus score.
I'm not giving a minus score. I'm giving a B plus A minus. So a little bit of a minus score, never mind. But like, I don't know.
It's a good movie. I really like it.
I like the themes it explored. Not a lot of
Yeah.
movies like that, bigger movies like that, tend to talk like that about those kind of themes. That's usually more for books.
And there are some stuff it leaves pretty ambiguous too. Mm-hmm. It's ironic because I usually don't like ambiguous endings, but I kind of liked this ending.
Mm-hmm. I know people. When I first heard about this movie, I know people on Reddit said that the main character was a douchebag because he basically endangered a mission. But like, dude ain't piloting, so like.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Yeah, what's the worst that happens? Oh no, he dies on ship. Just throw him out.
He wasn't endangering the mission. All the work he was doing was him.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's fine. Like honestly, it's fine. Also, like, man, he's gone. What happens now? Oh, more air and food for everybody. It's fine.
He gets the ultimate Viking funeral. Come on, guys.
Oh God, just
like Spock.
I haven't seen.
See,
I haven't seen Star Wars.
Of the original Star Wars movies,
Star Trek. I got you.
Of the original Star Trek movies, I've only seen the one with the whales.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
The Voyage Home.
No, everyone tells me like that's the really bad one. I'm like, no, it's not.
Good.
It's a trip. It's fun.
Thanks for joining us, Armand.
Oh, you're welcome.
Plug your stuff again?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me suggest a film called Gattaca for us to watch today and discuss. If you want to hear more of me, just follow Cinedicate on your favorite social media platform or podcast app. That is CINEDICATE. And you can find the Reshoot cast talking about Annihilation. Yeah, that was a great episode. So if you want to hear them talk about Annihilation, be sure to give us a listen. And thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's always fun when you come on.
And join us next time for Primer.
Ed sounds so like evil when he says it like that.
He sounds so confident.
Is, I think, a great movie to reshoot.
All right.
Okay.
Jude Law over here. All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Today's film was Gattaca, directed by Andrew Nicole. The screenplay is also written by Andrew Nicole. The cinematographer was Stawomir Idziak. Sorry for saying that wrong. Go show some love to their various social media accounts. They made a movie, which is more than we can say here. Our next episode will be Primer.